Of course, to be at this IIS meeting. As Icann, we've been supporting it from the beginning, and we are so happy to contribute. My name is Pierre Dangino, of course, Vice President, of course, of Stakeholder Engagement, Africa, but of course, also member of this vibrant community, internet community. We've been here for, well, so many years now. We should be leaving you guys, and sorry for that. I'm not going to take more time because we do have a few opportunities that are coming to talk about, Icann, what Icann does in Africa. You heard a bit from Yaovi this morning. We're also having an Icann Day coming on the 25th, so you have more sort of details on what we're doing. I would just like to highlight two approaches that we do have when it comes to Africa. The first one is about capacity development. And that itself also was not something that came as a surprise, because back there, one of the Icann meetings in Africa, a minister, when they happen to understand what Icann means, what it does, well, they say the priority for Africa should be capacity development. Second aspect of it also was about participation. I mean, make sure that Africans participate and contribute to Icann, because Icann is about technology, but it's also about policy. And quite important aspect that Africa should make sure to be at least present. So our mandate then for Africa was to make sure that we do have all of these sort of two sequences in place. Participation-wise, we will say today that it has increased. Since those days where we do have what we call the AFRALO, this is at-large group, we have Dr. Icann sitting on all of these things, and we were having something like maybe 20 Africans participating to those meetings, because Icann has 3 global meetings. As of today, we are counting, Africans by hundreds, so many more are coming, not just coming upon the fellowship that they are receiving, but also many are being sent, by the companies, by the countries. As soon as they understand what is the need for them, well, I think they are really sending over, more and more people. So participation is increasing. We need to have more Africans contributing to the working groups, because coming to Icann is also about contributing heavily to some of the subjects that we are discussing. So there are plenty of them. We just launched this new GTLD program, for instance. We'll be expecting, Africa to be also coming forward with new sort of strings, new names that you can request. Last time we did have this .Africa, it was not quite simple, it was quite easy. Last time we did have something like 1,900, sort of requests for new names. And unfortunately, only 16 came from Africa. And of the 16 now, we do have .Africa and 3 or 4 others. This time, of course, we will be expecting more and more. If you do want to come, it's about branding, it's about so many opportunities vis-a-vis the new domain names. Now for capacity development, I would say that's where we also made a few important steps. The first thing we did was to have the Africans themselves tell us exactly how we could contribute as Icann to them, and when we are talking about capacity development. And it was quite simple. You need to build capacity in different aspects of the whole thing. It's about working with the CCTLDs. We do have the what we call the Africa DNS Forum. We are working with the Africa registrars. Today, Africa accounts for 11 registrars, which are accredited by Icann. We'd like to be having more, because globally today you do have something over 300 of them. So one would like to have more of them. Now, if I'll briefly kind of provide a few details, but my slide deck is available for you to have more and more information on that. So for the last 2 years, we've been doing a few things specifically around capacity development and that are focusing on our core mission. Icann core mission is quite simple. It's about the DNS. And DNS, most of the time, is not understood as yet another sort of infrastructure. Because we are all used to the pipes, we are all used to whatever networking sort of thing, infrastructure. But the DNS itself is also an infrastructure. So we need to do a few things. Managing your DNS properly, making sure that security-wise you are on top of it. That's why we do have a program called DNSSEC. So DNSSEC Roadshow, we go to countries, we do some sort of awareness, but most importantly, we do have, how should I call, technical, hands-on practices so that people could really understand, at the same time be able to kind of do the validation because it's important that your destination is quite safe. DNSSEC is one of those that can secure those destinations. You heard about Tripti. Tripti is our the chair of the board, of African Icann board. She cited a few sort of examples of what we've been doing. I'm not going to go back on all of those things, but like I say, on the 25th, you are going to have the Icann Day, and more details will be available. A few things that we did that we would like to cite is, for instance, those L-root server that Icann actually, I won't say control, but that's the instances of the copies, we are able to provide them to you. There are more and more, requests from Africa, but the good thing is that we are seeing the way traffic, behave when you do have those layers, those servers. So this is something that we would like countries to be having more and more copies of this, because what it makes is that, well, you are keeping, the traffic is now being kind of, not just outside and back to Africa, but it's, it's treated within Africa, which is quite important. We have figures, when we have this, cluster here in Nairobi and also in Egypt, we could see how the traffic was moving. So we want to be able to do more and more on that. There is also one thing, and I'll be stopping with that one, which is the inclusion, And talking about inclusion, you'll be hearing about universal acceptance, for instance. How do you develop those scripts so that your languages are able to be on the internet? This is something quite important. And let me just cite what we started with Ghana, with the Association of African Universities, which is a great thing because now we are in touch with more than 300 universities and research centers, and that are trying to have the system apart with this universal acceptance. But mostly on the academia, we are working, we have developed this curricula, and now more and more African, universities and research centers will be also quite conversant, with the UA, and that's quite a good sort of thing. Tripti cited a few universities we are working with. So there are so many other things, but like I said, please come to our